Stocks are gaining, but the market breadth turns positive as mid-caps join in. Auto and consumer durables lead the gains while IT and FMCG drag. The stock of Westside and Zudio owner Trent takes a bit of a knock after it misses its growth guidance by a wide margin. The sharp deceleration in growth over the past few quarters has investors worried. LG Electronics' 11,600 crore IPO hits the street after marquee investors plow in nearly 3,500 crore rupees as anchor investors. The company is betting on higher penetration and premiumization to drive growth. IndusInd Bank CEO Rajiv Anand says he has a 4-point agenda, topping which is rebuilding trust. He also aims to get back the business momentum, build a profitable yet balanced franchise, and unlock productivity within fintech. He promises that IndusInd will be a substantially better bank in the next 3 years. Good afternoon, you're with us here on Business Lunch. We are coming to you live from the CNBC TV 18 Motilal Oswal studios. I am Hormuz Fatakia. It's a typical weekly expiry session that is playing out. We opened higher, we gave up those gains, and now we are returning back to the highs of the day. The intraday dip that you saw at around 11:30 has been very swiftly bought into the Nifty, back at 100 points higher, nearing the highest point of the day, which was just around about levels of 25,200. So a fourth day of gains actually for the benchmark index, and it is the Nifty Bank that continues to gain for the 6th day running. Remember, the last 5 sessions has seen the Nifty Bank gain over 1,800 points, and to those 1,800 points add another 300 to that. So now at this level, the Nifty Bank has crossed the 31st July intraday high, which was 56,406, and it now trades above those levels. So the Nifty Bank continuing to lead the recovery on the Nifty as well, 300 points higher, 0.5% on the Bank Nifty, 6th day of gains and at the highest point of the day. The broader markets at around about 11:30, the advanced decline had turned a little adverse, but that too has seen a bit of a recovery. The mid-cap index is now at the highest point of the day. The small-cap index also seeing a bit of a recovery from the lows of the session. There's some flashes on your screen as well. The CNBC TV 18 exclusive. Brokers are seeking continuation of the weekly options expiry, and SEBI has received representations from this. And look at the spike that you have seen in shares of BSE, and also pull up Angel One. That too has turned positive for today's trading session. The sources are saying that SEBI is still collecting and assessing data on derivatives. The consultation process has not yet begun. We'll get more details from Yash on this in just a bit. So that's the market picture as of now. But a stock that has not been doing well, did not do well yesterday. It is not doing well today as well. That is Trent, and that's after the second quarter business update. Mangalam is here to tell us more about what happened yesterday, what the brokerages are making of this as well. Mangalam.
Well, so, if you look at Trent's performance yesterday as well as today, the stock was underperforming. And the reason for that is the revenue for the company in the second quarter grew by 17%. And now you'd say that 17% in this environment is not particularly bad. But tell you what, Trent's own performance has been 20% in the first quarter. Over the last, few years, the revenues have compounded at over 35%, closer to 40% if you must. And more importantly, very recently, just a few months ago, the company itself told the analysts that, 25% CAGR is something that is sustainable. So the first half of this year, they've done about 19%. Can they go ahead and make up for the lost ground in the first half, in the second half, to continue that 25% CAGR or not, is something that the street will be tracking very, very closely. The stock, which at one point was trading well above the 130 times, now trading at around 80 times, didn't have a lot of valuation support as well, especially when the growth started to come off. So on a price earnings to growth basis, the PEG ratio basis, the stock did seem fairly valued and a little more expensive as well. What we need to track going forward are the same store sales growth in their growth driver, which is Zudio and Westside. But more importantly, the second half of this year, which is seasonally stronger, will the lower GST rates lead to higher volume and higher sales uptick or not, and the growth in their newer formats, the likes of grocery, ethnic wear and streetwear too. Brokerages, we had Equirus, which downgraded the stock this morning, but more importantly, Morgan Stanley remains sanguine. They have an overweight rating. They've pared their target price to sub 5,900 rupees, but they do believe that, despite the miss on revenues, there could be a case for margin expansion this quarter by about 165 points. So we'll watch out for how the company does going forward, and if growth, which is at an 18-quarter low, has bottomed out, and from here on, do we see some recovery or not?
Indeed. Mangalam, thank you for that update. Has recovered from the lows of the day, though, has Trent. among the few underperformers on the Nifty today. The sixth edition of the Global FinTech Fest has kicked off in Mumbai this morning. The event was inaugurated by Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman, who hailed India's progress on the digital transformation front. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and UK's Prime Minister Keir Starmer are also set to share the stage at the FinTech Fest, which is set to be attended by over 1 lakh participants. Let's hear out what the Finance Minister had to say as she addressed the summit.
India's journey in innovation and adoption with respect to new financial technologies is a story of unprecedented transformation. The scale of this transformation can be best understood through the numbers that define it. In a span of a single decade, we have connected a population equivalent to that of the entire European Union. Nearly half of the world's real-time digital transactions happen in India with adoption rates of 87% compared to the global average of 67%.
Moving on to an exclusive, Rajiv Anand, the newly appointed MD and CEO of IndusInd Bank, spoke exclusively to my colleague Ritu Singh from the sidelines of the 6th edition of the Global FinTech Fest about the bank's key priorities and his vision going forward. Listen in.
4 key priorities. One, like rightly said, build the trust back with regulators, with investors, with depositors, and most important, our employees as well. 2 is get the business momentum back. I think it's a bit slow at this point in time. We put out our balance sheet numbers a couple of days ago. 3 is, start to build a profitable franchise, which is a lot more balanced, both on the liabilities and asset side. And finally, we are here at the Global FinTech Fest. I think there is so much of work that we can potentially do to unlock productivity, for the bank, and I'm in a sense here to learn of what we can use, from the Global FinTech Fest in IndusInd Bank. We've done some work around this, particularly around our gems and jewelry business. We are quite comfortable in terms of the exposures that we are currently carrying. It is to better rated corporates, within, or the market leaders, within that space. Secondly, on MFI, I think the general commentary is that the second half of the year will certainly be much better than where we are today, and that should play positively for us. The resolution is just an enabling resolution. So, but if you look at the numbers from a capital adequacy perspective, we are well above 16%. CET1 is well above 15%. So at this point in time, IndusInd Bank doesn't require capital.
And on to the exclusive that we were just talking about a few minutes earlier. Sources are telling CNBC TV18 that SEBI has received a large number of representations with respect to weekly options. Yash is with this news break and he's here with more on this. Yash.
Well, Hormaz, indeed, what we've been given to understand is that a large number of representations in the form of written letters, in the form of emails, have reached SEBI's doors, and this is even before the official consultation process on the longer term derivatives actually begins. What we've been given to understand is that a large part of these representations seek continuation of the weekly options expiry. These have come largely from traders as well as brokers, seeking a continuation of that weekly expiry. And as I said, this happens even before the official consultation process begins. So what we've been given to understand from our sources is that exchanges, NSE, BSE, are likely to echo their broker's voice, seeking a continuation of the weekly expiry as things process and the official consultation process starts. But on market regulator SEBI's end, we are given to understand that SEBI is still gathering data, collecting this data and studying this data simultaneously, in terms of making up its mind and understanding the issue really. Also, SEBI, as per our sources, is expected to do a detailed and a very, very calibrated, understanding of all the feedback that come to its doors, and there will be no rush in either bringing out the consultation paper or taking a final call. So that's an important update as far as the whole process of whether to keep or to remove weekly expiry and have longer term derivatives is concerned.
Interesting, Yash. Thank you for that update. The update is showing up on the stock prices of both BSE and Angel One, recovering from the lows of the day. BSE currently trading 1.5% higher. Angel One too, recovering from the intraday lows and now has moved into positive territory. Take a short break. More news and updates follow on the other side. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Let's now bring you an update on the India-Qatar FTA talks led by Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal. Parikshit is now joining in from Doha for a roundup on what to expect. Parikshit.
Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal is here in Qatar for trade talks. He held meetings with his counterpart, Sheikh Faisal bin Thani, here in Doha. This was part of the Joint Commission on Commerce and Trade. There was a 36-member business delegation accompanying Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal. The focus was on concluding a bilateral investment treaty, finalizing the terms of reference for the trade deal as soon as possible. And the minister said here at an event that India and Qatar could possibly conclude an FTA by the third quarter of next year or even earlier. This could be a positive for sectors such as pharmaceuticals, for agricultural products and companies, for gems and jewelry, cosmetics, for mineral fuels, for those making copper articles as well, and engineering goods. Having said that, India is also seeking greater investments from Qatar into India, especially in sectors such as real estate, data centers, artificial intelligence, infrastructure for that matter. The minister also formally launched the UPI, or India's payment system, the Unified Payment Interface, here at the Lulu Mall in Qatar. And the minister said that bringing the UPI to Qatar only showcases how there will be greater flow of capital between India and Qatar in the years to come. So let's see how the FTA negotiations go. But overall, both sides are confident that there is political consensus between the leaders of India and Qatar, and therefore finalizing an FTA may not be difficult.
Let's also now listen into what the Commerce Minister had to say after meeting his Qatari counterpart.
We should quickly launch FTA negotiations. We are discussing the contours of the terms of reference, and once we have finalized that, Honorable Minister of Qatar and I have discussed that we will fast track it so that trade and business can double by 2030.
Back at the day's high is the index now at the 25,200 mark. Yet again, updates coming in from Dabur as well. We'll get you more on this on the other side. Stay tuned. Take a short break. Welcome back. Now, delegations from Israel and Hamas held their first day of indirect negotiations in Egypt to secure agreements on a US-backed plan to end the two-year-old war in Gaza. Israel and Hamas have both endorsed the overall principles behind Trump's plan, under which fighting would cease, hostages go free, and aid pours into Gaza. Meanwhile, a series of blasts shook Gaza on Tuesday, coinciding with the second anniversary of Hamas's attack on Israel. Let's listen into what US President Donald Trump had to say on his Gaza plan.
I think every nation is, we have just about every nation working on this deal and trying to get it done. Something that you could say 3,000 years if you look at it in certain ways, or you could say centuries, but this is a deal that incredibly everyone just came together. I think we're doing very well, and I think Hamas has been agreeing to things that are very important. I think we're going to have it soon. I think we're going to have a deal. It's a hard thing for me to say that when for years and years they've been trying to have a deal with Gaza, but literally for centuries, okay, if you really think about it. But we're going to have a Gaza deal, I'm pretty sure, yeah.
With that, we call time on this edition of Business Lunch. We leave you with the Nifty at the highest point of the day. The banking index doing very well for itself as well. From me and the team that put this show together, thank you so much for watching. Midcap Radar on the other side.